Welcome to the Golden Com Podcast. Special guest with me today, Chris Brigandi. Chris Brigandi, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
We've been trying to get on this show for quite some time. I'm very appreciative of you coming down.
Yep, I'm happy to say whatever comes out of my mouth and regret it 10 minutes later.
Well, there's regrets. We know it was. We know it's a good show.
We know it was accurate.
We'll get more viewers if there's a lot of regrets.
Okay, good.
I think a lot of people want to know about Newport Beach real estate, and you know as much as anyone about Newport Beach real estate, and so I wanted to, that'll be the meat and potatoes of the show. But to get there, you didn't start as the owner of Arbor Real Estate, one of the most predominant real estate firms in Newport Beach. I'd like to get an idea how you got there. Where did you grow up? Where did you start?
Well, I grew up in the city of Orange, and my family also had a home down in Balboa. So my great-granny bought a house in like 47, right at the base of the Balboa Pier. And my mom lived there and went to Newport Elementary School in the late 40s. After she graduated elementary school, they ended up going back to Santa Ana, I think they were living at the time, and my great-granny just kept the little beach house and then became my granny's beach house. And my grandpa divided this little cottage into kind of like a duplex. We just had upstairs, which was like one bedroom, one bath, and a living room and a little kitchen. So every summer, though, I was a Balboa Rat. I fished off the pier every day. I body surfed the Wedge and A Street. We used to take our boogie boards. These are boring stories, but way back when boogie boards first came out, you could buy a boogie board or you could buy a boogie board kit. And the boogie board kit was like $12 less. And it gave you the foam, and then it gave you the skin. So I bought that one. I made my, use your X-Acto knife and cut it out and make your own boogie board. And we used to at night, we would take our boogie boards and paddle across the bay to Balboa Island, get a Balboa bar, and then paddle our little boogie boards back. Where in today's world, I think they frown upon that.
Well, is that pre-ferry days?
Oh no, the ferry's been around forever.
Ferry was
but this would be after
the ferry closed.
Ferry closes at sunset.
Yeah,
most of the time. And
or you didn't want to pay for the ferry.
We didn't. Yeah, we just thought it was cool.
Yeah,
we were just boogie boarding across the channel, and so anyway, so we lived. Most of my life was half and half. Although I graduated from Orange High School, class of '80. Whoop whoop. And by the time I've been full time here for probably close to 40 years. This is my home where all my kids have grown up.
In Newport Beach, California.
Newport Beach, California. All my kids went to Newport Elementary School where my mom went. So I consider myself long-standing local down here.
Thanks to your great-granny.
Great-grandma.
Great-grand.
Amo.
And then you said two things. One, you said 47. Is there a tavern or bar?
There is, class of 47 down there.
What is that?
That's just a dive bar down in Balboa, right down from the ferry.
Should people go there?
It's a lively, spirited, after-hour event spot.
Okay, so
class of 47.
You also said A Street, and I know A Restaurant. So is there any
none?
No synergy between
none.
that. Okay.
I can tell you about A Restaurant, but it has nothing to do with A Street.
Well, real quick, what is A Restaurant?
Well, A Restaurant is a venture that myself and my buddy McG, or that's what people know him as, saw an opportunity to save the Arches, which is an iconic restaurant in Newport Beach. That's the longest operating restaurant in Orange County. Opened the doors in 36, and it had fallen to repair, and we were inclined to try to recreate the best version of itself. So in 2007, right when the world was just in perfect financial shape, we took over the venture, and I rebuilt it. It took about a year to put both the restaurant and the market back into working conditions. And then we opened the doors in 2008 and experienced what a lot of other people experienced in 2008. Not a lot of people out having money to spend going out to dinner.
Yeah. home equity line of credit's being shut down.
Yeah, it was a challenge. We were lucky because the community still embraced us, and our vision was to have it be cheers. Like, you're going to walk in and you're going to know your buddy, and hey, that was our goal, and that's what it's become. Everybody knows your name in there. Like, it's a very local spot, and we're very thankful it's thriving, and we're very thankful that the community's embraced it.
Well, so we're going to have to go back again, but I want to double click on a restaurant because it was the Arches.
Correct.
And a little bit of background. For those that don't know the Arches, that is an iconic restaurant in Newport Beach where the John Waynes, Humphrey Bogarts, maybe you can tell a few things about what that place was, that historical place.
Yeah, it was the place to be, and it was also like a stopping point for the Hollywood crowd. They would take Highway 1, which is PCH, and if they were driving down from LA to go to San Diego or something, it was kind of a hub, and this was right on that main road, and it was kind of the only thing that was kind of substantial. So like you said, John Wayne, who obviously lived in Newport Beach till his passing, the Duke, it was his favorite spot, and you could go down the list of a lot of other people who liked it. We were going to call it the Arches just because that's what everybody knew it as, but there was a little bit of a fight between the tenant who lost his lease and the people who owned the land, who owned the name of the Arches, and we didn't want to open the doors and have a lawsuit. It wasn't that compelling to us. We just said, we'll just call it A, and everybody just still calls it the Arches for the most part.
I think they do.
Yeah.
Is that Marciano? Is that Dan?
He's passed, but
He
yes.
passed on.
Yeah.
And so I remember him.
Yeah, there's a crazy story about him. Like, so the family was owning and operating it. They owned the land and they operated the restaurant. They then had the husband tragically pass kind of early. So the mom is crying in her beer at the Disneyland hotel, and a bartender is serving her drinks and crying on her shoulder, and she kind of created like a friendship with this guy. And soon enough, this guy says, hey, I could take over that restaurant. I kind of know it around that. And so then he goes back and starts having a relation with her and starts operating the restaurant. And during that time, he then gets the family to put the lease in his name and abruptly then stops having relations with her and basically kind of middle fingers the family. Obviously, it was Dan Marciano. So they, for like 30 years, just really despised him because they felt like you stole the restaurant from us. So
the bartender at Anaheim was Dan.
The bartender at the Disneyland Hotel was Dan Marciano.
Okay.
So I tell people, like, when the lease was up, he offered $10,000 a month more to stay there than we did, and that's how much they hated that guy. So
you didn't want to open that up.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't have opened that up just now.
That's why they have edit in the cut room.
We're going to leave it in, though,
Okay.
because it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And it's history.
Yeah.
Speaking of history, your brother would really like this podcast. I know he's passed.
Yeah.
But your brother was a historian.
Yeah, he ran the Orange County Historical Society for the county. He created the 3 different local historical societies, the Orange Historical Society, I think the Tustin Historical Society, and one other one. He has written multiple books. His main job was cities would hire him to research and produce books about their city, like the historical significance of the city of Anaheim. And the city would hire him. He would do all this historical research and then produce a book that the city would have as kind of like, hey, we're Anaheim, this is who we are. And that's how he kind of made a living, was being a historical writer, all about the history of Orange. He was kind of the preeminent Orange and California historical savant, where even the college professors would call upon him to review their papers and give it any critiques and or discrepancies of the truth. So God rest his soul. My brother passed away. Yeah.
In honor of him, I'm going to refer to you for the remainder of the show as the historian. No, because you're doing pretty good. We've got some pretty good chapters in here.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to rewind it back. You've got music in your blood. You've got history in your blood. You are familiar with basses and microphones.
Yes.
I know you were, because I know people who were playing with you back in the day. It's a cliche, the day. So you said you graduated in 90?
80.
80. Okay, so now what's happening? You graduated in 80.
In 80, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I did a little bit of roofing, and I learned a valuable lesson as a roofer.
Don't fall.
Don't be a roofer. So, and I somehow got involved with music with a couple buddies, my two friends in the city of Orange. We like surfing, we like punk rock music, and we like rockabilly music. And we just thought, hey, we could start a band. So we did. And we were sloppy with a stand-up bass that kind of played a little out of tune, but we were loud and obnoxious. But we had a lot of friends who were kind of a part of liking what we liked. So we just had a little bit of a scene around just because we were all buddies and we liked surfing, punk rock, and rockabilly. And we got a record deal and actually did this kind of halfway within the gospel music world. We played as much non-gospel events, all the clubs around here in LA, but we also played a lot of church events, which sometimes didn't go, I think, as well as the promoters would have hoped based on what most churches want out of some of their musical people. We'd come in and be loud and rambunctious.
Yeah. Well, that era starts there, really. I mean, Chuck Smith, are you doing anything with him?
Yeah, we got kicked out of Calvary.
You got kicked out of Calvary?
Yeah. We played there like probably 4 or 5 times, and then at one final event, he said, look, guys, everybody's standing up and dancing and going crazy, and we just can't have that here.
Was that the Door?
We played the Door, too. The Door was Calvary Church.
Okay.
That was a pretty cool event. That would be after Friday night footballs.
Right.
And they kind of let the hair go crazy and let it rip a little bit. So we enjoyed playing the Door because it was close. I think they paid us like $7.50 for us. We all lived in the flats in Orange, right above the Orange Plaza. People call it the Circle. My brother would correct you. It's the Plaza. My rent was $150 a month. We had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in the flats with me and my buddy, and the rent was $325, so it was $165 a month. I got $250 for one night. I was living good.
That's pretty good.
That one night.
Yeah.
So we did that, made a couple of records with that band called The Lifters.
The Lifters?
Yep.
Okay.
During that time, I was asked to do a musical soundtrack, which I said, I'm not doing that. And they said, we'll pay you $500. And I said, I'll do it. And when I did it, I was introduced to a person. They said, actually, you're singing a duet with somebody. And I said, good, because I can't sing, but I can kind of go, ah! And the person that they set me up with, I recognized that she'd come to our shows all the time. And I'm like, oh, I see you like rockabilly dancing. She's 15. She goes, yeah, I was hired. I made the thing. I'm going to sing. Oh, okay. And then I heard her sing, and I'm like, holy geez, she can really sing. So after that, I said, hey, why don't you come up and sing a couple songs with us? And then, yeah, she can really sing. And then pretty soon, I'm like, why don't you sing more songs? And then pretty soon, we weren't really the original band anymore, because we just took a whole new life having like a real quality.
She brought something to you guys
that
you didn't have.
Yeah, I mean, she's won a Grammy Award and stuff.
Like
so
she
anyway,
could sing.
She still does.
Yeah, but you still like rockabilly, you still like punk, you still like...
Yeah, and we did a record with her called Wild Blue Yonder that we made in 85. It came out in 86, which the closest thing if people knew, there was a band called Lone Justice that we were compared to, only because we were a 3-piece band with a girl singer that had some kind of country rockabilly roots. So did that, fiddled around in music for another 5 years of different bands and stuff. And by the time I hit about 1990, I'd kind of like ran the course of, is this what you're going to do the rest of your life?
You're like approaching 30 at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And got my real estate license in 88. In about 1990, I took it a little more serious. And in 1991, I sold a house, the most expensive home ever sold on the Peninsula Point, $3,750,000.
$3 million home in 91.
3,750.
And, okay, 3.75 million.
Correct.
In 1991.
Correct.
What, just out of curiosity, what is it worth today?
Well, we just sold next door, same size lot for 15 million.
15 million.
And this one had 3 lots behind it as well. So this would be worth over 20 million today.
20 million. Jeez.
And I made a check for $80,000.
That's more than a month rent.
That was more than a month rent. So it lit the fuse of like,
It's like, oh,
I can do this. And then the guy I was working with was like, hey, you know, I also love developing stuff. If you go find me some development stuff, I'll give you a little crumbs off the table. So I would go around the town during the day and write down the addresses of all the total crappy old houses. And then at night, I would go back to my office and I would get out like, you could buy the title book that showed all the owners for all the addresses. So you'd say 117 Main is Mr. Thomas Jones or something. So then back then, you'd pick up the phone and dial 411, which was information. People don't know, maybe you remember that.
oh, of course.
So I'd say, hey, I'm trying to get the number for Mr. Jones at 117 Main Street. Oh, Mr. Jones, 949-673-2121.
Well, then it was 714.
It might have been. I couldn't
because it's
remember.
when did
I don't know when they switched it.
Yeah, switched. Go ahead.
So then I would just call Mr. Jones. Hey, buddy, I saw your house. If you get the get out of here, I'm not selling my house. Clunk. Oh, okay. Oh, what's the next one? Oh, it's Sally Williams, 2726 West Oceanfront. You know. So I'd go down the list, and I finally hit one. A little house on Buena Vista. Some old gal said, you know, I'm getting old. So we went down. We made a deal. My buddy bought the house, developed the home, and I got the commission when it was sold, and the house sold for 2.7. So I got a $50,000 commission, and I then got a 10% override on the profit, which was like another $60,000. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's more profit in building them than selling them. So that lit the fuse of like, all right, I'm going to get involved with development. So the original guy that I'm talking about, his name is Russ Fluter. He's an amazing, still good buddy of mine. We went and did 4 or 5 more developments together. Each one, I got 10% of the deal, then I'd get 15% of the deal, then I'd get 25% of the deal. And then like he kind of like took the training wheels off in a sense. It was always very friendly. We had a thing where like, we're not going to go compete on the same project opportunity. Why bid each other up? We'd go together on those. But if I found something on my own, I would just go do it on my own, and had other friends and other investors who wanted to do stuff. So I built, I think the first thing I built was an oceanfront down by the Wedge, actually on right where the boulevard ended, or the boardwalk ended. And I built that in 95. So ever since then, I've probably been a part of a lot of high-end residential development. Through that, I was also still selling homes, and through that, meeting all the friends in the community. That it wasn't like it was today. Real estate wasn't, nobody had considered it a glamorous TV show job. There wasn't the internet, there wasn't Instagram to post a picture of you holding a cup of coffee telling me that you're grinding today for you clients. It was like the only way you could work was to meet customers, and which I did. I would hold an open house at least 5 days a week, if not 7 days a week, because that's where the buyers were, right? They weren't at my office. They were out looking, and I needed to be where they were looking. So I was just open housing. That's all I did to meet people. And through that, meeting other friends in the community, in about 1999, we had decided to start a company together, me and a couple buddies, called Strata Properties. And we just got a tailwind of acceptance within the brokerage community. We were kind of the cool company. We had good marketing, and we were the first company to kind of venture into like our marketing was kind of more I don't know, like I remember meeting with the guy and we're like, we kind of like how Calvin Klein looks. And like, we want our logo to just be a little more elevated and have a little more fashion sense, where the other companies were like Coldwell Banker and all these other national brands. They couldn't really tailor their look to like kind of what we were doing, which was kind of a more high-end local real estate company that the consumers gravitated to. So that was our thing. We built it. We got lucky. We had about 300 agents come. We had a brokerage side, we had a mortgage side, and we had an escrow side. And 2004, Coldwell Banker bought us just because we had kind of dominated the market. And they knew that if they bought us, they had to hold in myself and my partners. Obviously, I had some wonderful partners in the firm who I'm still good buddies with. And so then they bought us and held us in. And then we remained at Coldwell Banker for another, I think we had a 4-year non-compete. And there you go. And then rolled through about 12 years ago, myself and Kristen Berry and a couple other people started Arbor, which is a smaller firm. We only have about 100 agents. And we do, 2 years ago we hit $1 billion in sales. This year we're tracking at about $800 million in sales.
Well, you've done it brilliantly, because what you've done, whether you know it or not, is you brought me back to 2007-8, where you purchased.
Oh yeah,
You did it.
We did that
You
too.
filled in all the cracks, Chris.
Yeah, well, we've, along with that, it seems like business has been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
But really the big part of my life is my family and my kids. I got 5 kids, and they've always and still will be like, every moment of my life I think about them and care for them and want to spend time with them. And lucky now I'm a grandpa. My
Congratulations.
oldest has 3, and I'm super involved. Every Sunday we just have family day at my house that is involved with every type of sporting event we can have on the beach. We play beach tennis, we play beach golf, we play wiffle ball. I put a light on my house that would probably light up the Walmart parking lot. And at nighttime, when it's dark, I can shine the whole beach all the way to the water. And we have huge wiffle ball games like under the lights at Wrigley Field. So that's what really
Keeps you ticking.
keeps the grind going, where I appreciate my work life, but it's my work life. It's not my life. So.
Well, Chris, your story today is, it's inspirational. It's accurate. It's got great history underpinnings, and I think a lot of the people on the show are going to like it. I'd love to have you back sometime.
It was
'cause
fun.
You probably have more of these stories.
Yeah, I've had a lot
quite
happen
a
in my
few.
life.
Quite a few.
Yeah. Some that we would probably tell off mic.
Before we hang it up, maybe an elevator pitch on Arbor. We got there, right? Because you had Strata sold to Caldwell. You did your non-compete. You restarted Arbor.
Yep.
That's what you're doing today.
Yep.
People know you as the co-founder of Arbor Real Estate. I've used your facility. You've been very generous for
Yep.
many, many charitable events
Yep.
where we raise money.
We just had one.
Which one did you have?
Well, a big part of our company is the commitment to the community.
Right.
No other companies seem to care, and I want to cuss, but I know I'm on mic. It kind of agitates me that nobody else seems to care. So we've been really committed to what's important to the community, to me, and to people who are gravitated to live around here. A lot of it has to do with the draw to the water and the ocean and why we want to live around here. So we've aligned about 10 years ago with a guy named Rob Machado, who's a pro surfer, now not on the tour, but still kind of the icon of this generation of like the style master Jerry Lopez. And he has an agenda of eliminating single-use plastics. So we've aligned with him and put together these fundraisers so we can install refillable water stations on all the schools. And we'll deliver all the students a water flask. And we put these water stations on the campuses that will then make mom not put a plastic water bottle in the kid's backpack every day. So the most recent one we just did was, we're also a part of the Junior Lifeguard Foundation and the Ben Carlson Foundation. So we had a fundraiser for them with the same agenda of, when a kid signs up for the junior lifeguard, he gets a backpack, and the backpack comes with his clothes and his hat and all this gear. And we wanted to be able to put a water flask in that backpack, so that every morning mom fills up that and puts that in this thing rather than putting a plastic bottle in his backpack. So that was the last event we just did on Saturday, and exceeded our goal, raised over 20,000, and also got 6 scholarship funds. So we've raised enough money for 6 kids who can't afford to pay to be in the program. We're going to be able to scholarship 6 kids, which is $900 a kid. So, but for all the parents who've done it and all the parents who've had their kids go through it, everybody says the same thing. Just an amazing time for your kid to love the water, to love the ocean, to be water safe, and experience why we're living here. You know, I'm not living here to drive down 17th Street in my car. I'm here to go walk on the beach, watch the sunset, jump in the water, go surfing. To be able to pass that love on to our kids is great.
No question.
As our company, that's what we like to be a part of.
The Junior Lifeguard Program
And the Ben Carlson
and
Foundation.
the these are rites of passage for kids down here.
Yeah, and we want to just be a part of it. And I'd want to do these events if I didn't have a company. You know, it's just the ethos of me, and fortunately, the ethos of the people who are gravitated to work with us at Arbor.
Good. All right, Chris Brigandi from Arbor Real Estate. Thank you for being my guest.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Yep.